We have a bit of breaking news tonight about Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, who is currently under investigation for the sex trafficking of a 17-year-old girl. New York Times is reporting that he asked the White House for a blanket preemptive pardon in the last weeks of Donald Trump's term. Congressman Gaetz asked for the pardon for himself and unidentified congressional allies, which some Trump associates have recently speculated was an attempt to camouflage his own potential criminal exposure. At this point, he was already under investigation by the Justice Department, but it was unclear whether Mr. Gaetz or the White House knew at the time about the inquiry. Mr. Gaetz did not tell White House aides that he was under investigation for potential sex trafficking violations when he made the request. Yeah, I'd probably leave that out, too. New York Times Washington correspondent Michael Schmidt broke this news moments ago, and he joins me now. All right, Michael, what did you learn about this request?
Basically, it came in the final weeks of the Trump presidency. That was a time when there was a lot of discussion going on at the White House. The president was bringing up the idea of pardons with associates and confidants, asking them, would you like a Diet Coke? Would you like a pardon? So it was something that was being openly discussed. And at this time, Gaetz went to the White House and asked for this blanket pardon. A blanket pardon for something like this would have been extraordinary, even by the standards of the Trump pardon. So if you remember, Trump gave pardons to all sorts of allies and donors and such. But in the case of Gaetz, he had not been charged with a crime. So it would be essentially the ultimate get out of jail free card. It'd be giving you a clean slate on all of your past acts, like the pardon on steroids, if there was a way of saying it.
Right.
And White House aides realized that this was highly problematic and would set a bad precedent. And it had a sort of odd overture to it, and it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, so just to take our minds back, and you did some great reporting about this at the time, and a lot of people as well. I mean, we've got this White House that's like this, almost this kind of like bazaar for pardons, right? We know there's huge, like 6- and 7-figure campaigns.
No, there was a market for pardons.
Yeah,
there was a market for pardons.
A market for pardons, right? So there's a lot of pardon requests. There's also at the time reporting that you and others in New York Times, well, other publications about the president thinking about pardoning himself or his family in this kind of preemptive blanket way, right? Not people who've already been charged, but kind of like preemptive and blanket way. So that's in the air at the time that we understand Gaetz is sort of proposing this.
And what is going on at that time? The federal investigation of Matt Gaetz is accelerating. They're beginning to do interviews with witnesses. They're starting to talk to people. They're starting to take overt acts, the type of things that, would give off clues to people that something is going on. The other thing is that in last August, his associate had been indicted for sex trafficking of a minor, someone he had spent a lot of time with, someone, who he knew a lot about his activities. And we now know that Gaetz is under investigation for having a relationship, for having, sexual relations with that same girl. And so Gaetz knows on the public record in August of last year is the indictment of this guy for sex trafficking a minor. If Matt Gaetz was paying attention, this was widely reported in the Florida press at the time, he would have had some hint that something like this was going on around him.
This is incredible reporting, Michael Schmidt, and thank you so much for scrambling to join us after breaking the story. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.